Your kids could get free or low-cost health coverage from Medicaid or CHIP. Even if you've applied before, they may be eligible now. Kids up to age 19 are covered for checkups, vaccines, dentist visits, hospital care, and more. And if they already have Medicaid or CHIP, remember to renew every year. Visit insurekidsnow.gov or call 877-KIDS-NOW. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
We all know those GLP-1 injections work wonders, but that price tag almost gave me a heart attack when my insurance denied coverage. I was staring at a choice between paying my mortgage or paying for weight loss. Talk about a rock in a hard place. Then I found Elevate Health compounded semaglutide at just $58 with payment plans that don't require a second mortgage. Same medication, same results, but a price that real folks can actually afford. Visit joinelevate.com today. That's JOINELEVATE.com. Your wallet will be as happy as your waistline. This medication is not FDA approved.
Welcome to Bedtime Astronomy. Explore the wonders of the cosmos with our soothing bedtime astronomy podcast. Each episode offers a gentle journey through the stars, planets, and beyond, perfect for unwinding after a long day. Let's travel through the mysteries of the universe as you drift off into a peaceful slumber under the night sky.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we're doing a deep dive into something truly fascinating, the ongoing hunt for life beyond Earth, specifically what's happening on Mars right now.
It's a quest that really captures the imagination, doesn't it? Asking those big questions about our place in the universe.
Absolutely. And, things have gotten incredibly exciting lately thanks to NASA's Perseverance rover. I've been following this pretty closely. And these new findings, wow, they really make you rethink Mars's ancient past.
They really do. What's got the scientific community buzzing, I think, is the nature of these findings. We're talking about what are called potential biosignatures.
Okay, let's unpack that. Potential biosignatures. Yeah. Not proof yet.
Exactly. Not definitive proof. Not yet, anyway. But they are strong indicators, pointers towards the possibility of past life. And even finding potential signs, well, the implications are just huge.
It forces you to consider how common life might actually be out there.
Precisely. This isn't the end of the story, obviously, but it feels like a really crucial, thrilling step forward in a long scientific process.
And this particular study we're diving into, it comes from researchers like Dr. Michael Tice at Texas A&M, published in Nature.
That's right. Highly credible source. And the focus is on a very specific spot in Jezero Crater on Mars, an area called the Bright Angel Formation.
Right. So our mission today is to really get into this study. What did they find? What does it really mean? How solid is the science? And why is it so significant?
And we'll explore that tantalizing idea. What if life used similar chemical tricks on early Mars as it did on early Earth?
Exactly. Does that suggest life is, well, maybe not such a rare thing after all?
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into the chemistry, the geology, and all the possibilities. Okay, so let's set the scene. Many of you listening probably know about Perseverance, NASA's amazing rover on Mars. It's basically a rolling geology and astrobiology lab about the size of a car.
Been up there since what, February 2021? Doing incredible work.
Yeah, and its main goal is epic. Look for signs of ancient life, collect samples. Samples that might eventually come back to Earth.
Which is key, as we'll discuss later.
Definitely. But picture this robot, built by us, exploring this alien world, examining rocks, dust, like a field geologist, but millions of miles away. It's kind of amazing.
It really is.
And getting to this Bright Angel spot wasn't easy. It had to navigate this big dune field to dodge massive boulders. One wrong move could end the mission.
It's a slow, careful process. Every meter covered is a huge engineering achievement.
It really is like watching a detective piece together a cosmic cold case, rock by rock.
And the location, Jezero Crater, that was no accident. Scientists picked it for a very specific reason.
Because it used to be a lake, right? Millions of years ago.
Exactly. All the evidence points to a large lake fed by rivers like the Naretva valleys. This was back when Mars was much warmer and wetter than it is today.
And the thinking is, on Earth, where there's water, there's usually life.
That's the guiding principle. So an ancient lake bed like Jezero, that's prime real estate for finding signs of past water and maybe, just maybe, signs of past life.
The sediments laid down in that lake, they can preserve evidence.
Potentially, yes. Fine-grained mudstones, laid down layer by layer, could trap and preserve biosignatures, much like lake beds do here on Earth. It's like Mars left us a perfectly preserved geological invitation.
So Perseverance makes this tough journey and finally gets to the Bright Angel Formation. And right away, it's clear this place is different.
Stands out from what the rover had seen before in Jezero.
And the name, Bright Angel, kind of evocative, comes from the Grand Canyon, apparently.
Yeah.
Because the rocks there are lighter in color.
That's right. It helps connect it back, makes this alien landscape a bit more relatable.
Dr. Tice, the researcher we mentioned, he said something interesting about the team's reaction when they got there. Basically, when the rover entered Bright Angel, the team was immediately struck by how different the rocks were.
Yeah, that phrase immediately struck, coming from scientists who've been staring at Mars data for years, that tells you something significant happened.
So what was it, geologically speaking? What made it so different?
Well, its location is key. It's right in the Nerva Channel, which was a major river flowing into the old Jezero Lake. So it's not just some random spot.
Okay, so strategically placed.
Exactly. And the rocks themselves are mainly these fine-grained sedimentary rocks, mudstones. Mudstones form from silt and clay carried by water.
Ah, so direct evidence of flowing water depositing material.
Right. You see layering bedding structures. It points to a dynamic, persistent water system, a river flowing into a lake, not just a puddle, but an active system.
And on Earth, those kinds of environments are often rich in organic stuff and microbes.
Precisely. The very rocks there whisper stories of water, of flowing rivers, of deposition over time. So when Tice and the team saw this, that immediate strike makes perfect sense. They knew they were somewhere fundamentally different.
Okay, this is where, for me anyway, it gets really good. We shift from the rocks themselves to what's in them. The chemistry.
Yeah, the instruments on Perseverance started analyzing these Bright Angel mudstones, and they found, well, quite a mix.
What kind of mix are we talking about?
We're seeing things like oxidized iron, basically rust in different forms, phosphorus, which is fundamental for DNA and cell membranes, sulfur, also key for biochemistry, and the big one perhaps, organic carbon.
Now, organic carbon, we found that on Mars before, right? From meteorites or maybe volcanoes?
That's true, yes. Organic carbon itself isn't proof of life.
So what's different here?
It's the combination. It's finding the organic carbon together with these other elements, the iron, the sulfur, the phosphorus, all in these specific mudstones. That particular assemblage in that context, that's what grabbed their attention.
So it's like finding flour, sugar, eggs, and butter all in the same bowl, not just scattered around the kitchen.
That's actually a great analogy, yes. And this specific chemical cocktail, as you called it, represents what scientists see as a potentially rich source of energy for early microorganisms.
Okay, connect that to early life on Earth for us. How does that work?
Well, the earliest life on Earth didn't necessarily use sunlight like plants do. Many early microbes got energy from chemical imbalances, from chemical gradients in their environment.
Like eating certain chemicals and breathing others.
Exactly. It's called chemical cycling. Life basically exploits these energy differences. And finding oxidized iron, sulfur, phosphorus, and organic carbon together suggests just such an energy imbalance existed there.
An environment ripe for life to tap into for energy?
Potentially, yes. It means the ingredients and the energetic drive needed for life using these kinds of chemical reactions could have been present on ancient Mars. Very similar to conditions on early Earth. It's a really tantalizing parallel. Hashtag tagged, hashtag 2.2, spectrometers, redox reactions, and mineral signatures.
So finding this chemical buffet is one thing, but how do you actually see these microscopic chemical clues from millions of miles away? That's where the rover's fancy instruments come in, right? Looking for things like redox reactions.
Right. Perseverance has some incredibly sophisticated tools. Sherlock, which looks for organics and chemicals using Raman and luminescence.
And PRXL, which maps out the elemental composition using X-rays. These are basically the rover's chemical eyes.
Very powerful eyes. And they're looking for evidence of redox reactions, those chemical reactions involving the transfer of electrons.
Why are redox reactions so important in the search for life?
Because here on Earth, redox reactions are very often driven by life itself. Microbes do this constantly for energy, for metabolism, and in doing so, they change their environment and leave behind chemical fingerprints.
So finding signs of lots of redox activity on Mars is a big flag.
A potentially biological flag, yes. It makes you stop and look closer. And the rover team found some really striking microscopic features in these mudstones. Tiny little spheres, nodules, and also these reaction fronts, distinct zones where chemical changes happen.
And these got nicknames, right? The poppy seeds and the leopard spots?
Yes. easier to visualize that way. And importantly, these tiny structures were enriched in very specific minerals.
Okay, what minerals are we talking about?
Ferrous iron phosphate, likely a mineral called vivianite, and iron sulfide, likely greigite.
Vivianite and greigite. Why are those minerals significant?
Because both vivianite and greigite often form on Earth in cool, water-rich environments, low oxygen. And they're very frequently associated with microbial activity, with microbial metabolism.
So their presence points towards specific environmental conditions, possibly linked to life.
Exactly. And Dr. Tice pointed out it's not just finding the minerals. He said, it's how they are arranged in these structures that suggest that they formed through the redox cycling of iron and sulfur.
So the pattern matters as much as the substance.
Precisely. He posed the key question. On Earth, microbes eat organic matter and breathe rust and sulfate, forming features like this. Could the same thing have happened on Mars?
It really makes you wonder. It's the arrangement, the context, the whole picture that starts to look intriguingly biological.
It moves beyond just interesting geology towards something. Well, something that needs serious consideration as potentially life-related.
Okay, so we have the minerals, the structure. Let's go back to the organic carbon. The Sherlock instrument detected something called the G-band.
Yes, the G-band is basically a spectral signature, a specific way organic carbon molecules vibrate when hit with Sherlock's laser. Think of it like a fingerprint for carbon bonds.
A way to spot organic molecules even in tiny amounts.
Exactly. But what's really compelling here is where they found the strongest signals for this G-band.
It wasn't just everywhere.
No. The strongest signals were concentrated at a site they named Apollo Temple. And critically, this was the exact same spot where the vivianite and greigite, those redox minerals we just talked about, were most abundant.
Wow, so the organic carbon and these specific minerals are literally found together side by side in the rock.
Precisely. This co-location, this spatial relationship is a huge piece of the puzzle. It's not random.
What does that closeness actually suggest? Why is finding them together so much more powerful than finding them separately?
Because it strongly implies they were involved in the same processes. It suggests an active interaction between the organic matter and these minerals during their formation.
Like they were part of the same chemical reactions.
That's the implication. On Earth, seeing organic matter closely tied to these kinds of redox minerals and sediments is often a dead giveaway for biological activity. Microbes munch on the organics, drive the redox reactions, and influence which minerals form right around them.
Dr. Tice commented on this too.
He did. He said, this co-location is very compelling. It suggests that organic molecules may have played a role in driving the chemical reactions that formed these minerals.
So it paints a picture of a dynamic system, potentially biologically mediated, rather than just a random collection of chemicals.
Exactly. It makes the whole scenario much more coherent and boosts the case that these weren't just passive ingredients, but active participants in potentially life-driven cycles.
Okay, but we need to be really careful here. When we say organic carbon, people instantly think life. But it's not that simple, is it?
Not at all. And Dr. Tice made this point very clearly. Organic in chemistry just means molecules with carbon bonds. Life uses them, absolutely, but they can also form without life.
Like from meteorites or geological processes deep inside a planet.
Right. Meteorites often contain complex organic molecules, and certain geological reactions, like serpentinization, can also produce them abiotically, meaning without biology.
So finding organic carbon on Mars means the building blocks were there, but not necessarily life itself.
Correct. The study basically considers two main possibilities for the organic matter they detected. Either it formed through these non-living abiotic processes, or it was originally produced by living organisms. And what we're seeing now is the degraded remains of that biological material after billions of years of radiation and chemical reactions. The G-band signature could represent that degraded biological carbon.
Okay, so how do you tell the difference? Abiotic versus biotic origin. That seems like the absolute key question.
It is the key question. And this is where things get really tricky, but also very interesting, especially when you bring the sulfur minerals back into the picture.
The greigite, the iron sulfide.
Yes. While some of the iron features, the vivianite maybe, could potentially form from abiotic reactions involving organic matter and iron at lower temperatures, the sulfur minerals are different.
How so?
The study highlights this known abiotic ways to make features like the greigite they observed, these leopard spots, usually require pretty high temperatures. Think hydrothermal systems, volcanic activity.
Okay. But Did Perseverance see any signs of high heat in these bright angel rocks?
That's the crucial point. No. According to Dr. Tice, all the ways we have of examining these rocks on the rover suggest that they were never heated enough to produce these features abiotically.
Wow, so the known non-biological recipes require heat, but the crime scene shows no sign of an oven being used.
Exactly. That's a fantastic analogy again. The lack of evidence for high temperatures is what makes the biological explanation so much more compelling for these specific features.
It's like a process of elimination.
It is. If the non-biological ways we know about don't fit the evidence, you have to seriously consider the biological alternative, which led Dr. Tice to say, and this is quite a statement.
What did he say?
If that's the case, we have to seriously consider the possibility that they were made by creatures like bacteria living in the mud in a Martian lake more than 3 billion years ago.
That's pretty mind-blowing. The lack of heat makes the biological case much stronger.
Much stronger for the specific mineral assemblages, yes. It doesn't prove it, but it significantly elevates the possibility beyond just finding generic organic carbon.
So, okay, the evidence is compelling. The lack of heat, the co-location, the specific minerals, it all points in a very interesting direction.
Yeah.
But the team is still careful, right? They're not shouting, "We found life."
Absolutely not. Scientific rigor demands caution, especially with a claim this big. They are very clear. This is not definitive proof.
But it does meet NASA's criteria for something specific.
Yes. It meets the criteria for potential biosignatures.
And what does that mean exactly for us listening?
It basically means they've found features, chemical, mineralogical, structural, that could have been produced by life, but for which abiotic explanations haven't been completely ruled out yet. It signals that this warrants serious, focused, further investigation.
So it's like a very strong lead in a detective case. Not the conviction, but something you absolutely have to follow up on.
That's a good way to think about it. It's saying, this looks promising, it smells like life based on what we know from Earth. Now we need to do the really hard work to confirm or refute it.
And that caution is crucial, right? You don't want to jump the gun on something this monumental.
Absolutely essential. False positives can be incredibly damaging to science. So the term potential is key. It acknowledges the evidence but respects the high burden of proof needed.
Which brings us to the next logical question. How do you get from potential to proven? The rover's done amazing work, but it has limits.
It does. The instruments are incredible feats of engineering, miniaturized labs on another planet, but they can't match the power and sophistication of labs here on Earth.
So to really nail this down,
to definitively distinguish abiotic from biotic, the overwhelming consensus is we need those rocks back here on Earth. We need to bring Mars home.
And Perseverance has been collecting samples all along, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Little cores of rock.
Yes, diligently caching them for a potential future return mission.
And crucially, it collected one from this exact area, from the Bright Angel Formation.
That's right, a core sample named Sapphire Canyon. It's sealed in a tube, safe on the rover, waiting.
Waiting for a ride back to Earth.
Potentially, yes. And this Sapphire Canyon sample is considered high priority for return. It's literally a piece of this intriguing puzzle.
Holding secrets from Bright Angel. That sample could be the key, couldn't it?
It really could be. Bringing it back is, well, indispensable for the next phase. Earth labs have instruments orders of magnitude more sensitive and capable than anything we can realistically send to Mars.
What kind of tests could we do here that Perseverance can't do there?
Oh, a whole suite of things. For starters, isotopic analysis of the organic carbon. Life often prefers lighter isotopes, leaving a specific signature that's hard for abiotic processes to mimic. That could be a game changer.
Okay, what else?
We could do incredibly detailed mineralogy, looking at the crystal structures, the tiny intergrowths between minerals, maybe even using electron microscopes that tells you a lot about how they formed.
Searching for specific molecules.
Exactly. Looking for complex biomarkers, molecules that are uniquely produced by life, much more specific than just organic carbon. And then the ultimate, although very difficult, searching for actual microfossils, tiny shapes or textures that look like fossilized cells.
Wow. And the temperature question, can we test that more definitively here?
Yes, absolutely. We could perform much more precise tests on the sample itself to determine the maximum temperature it ever experienced. If those tests confirm it stayed cool, that dramatically strengthens the case against high temperature abiotic formation for those sulfur minerals.
So Sapphire Canyon isn't just a rock. It's potentially our best chance to get the ground truth, to really understand what happened in that ancient Martian lake.
It represents our most direct path to potentially answering one of humanity's biggest questions.
So stepping back a bit, we've gone deep into the geology, the chemistry, the sample return. What's the bigger picture here? How does this Martian story connect back to Earth?
It connects in a really profound way, actually. Dr. Tice highlighted this. He said, what's fascinating is how life may have been making use of some of the same processes on Earth and Mars at around the same time.
The same processes around the same time? That's huge.
It is. It suggests that the fundamental ways life harnesses energy, these metabolic strategies involving iron, sulfur, organic carbon, maybe they aren't unique to Earth. Maybe they're more universal.
Like a common toolkit for early life, wherever it might arise.
That's the implication. If you have liquid water, the right chemicals, energy gradients, maybe life tends to find similar solutions. It could point towards convergent evolution or even just fundamental biochemical pathways that work well in planetary environments.
And the same time part.
Yeah.
We're talking billions of years ago, right?
Yeah.
When both planets were young.
Exactly. Roughly 3 to 4 billion years ago, Tice points out, we see evidence of microorganisms reacting iron and sulfur with organic matter in the same way in rocks at the same age on Earth.
So it's not just a modern comparison, it's looking back to the dawn of life in the solar system.
Precisely. The idea that similar life-supporting processes might have been happening concurrently on 2 different planets, it's incredibly powerful. It challenges the idea that life is some kind of cosmic fluke.
It suggests maybe life is a more, predictable outcome if the conditions are right.
That's certainly one interpretation, and a very exciting one.
But there's a twist, isn't there? Even if the processes were similar back then, we don't see these exact same delicate features preserved perfectly in Earth's oldest rocks today. Why not?
That comes down to geology. Earth is geologically very active. We have plate tectonics.
Our crust is constantly moving, recycling itself.
Exactly. And that process subduction, mountain building, burial involves immense heat and pressure. As Tice put it, this processing by plate tectonics has heated all our rocks too much to preserve them this way.
So Earth's geological activity basically erases these kinds of fine-scale details over billions of years.
It largely does, yes.
Yeah.
Any delicate mineral structures or subtle chemical signatures from that far back are usually altered, cooked, or completely destroyed. It's like trying to read a 3 billion-year-old message written on tissue paper that's been through a furnace.
But Mars is different.
Mars is different. It mostly lacks active planet-wide plate tectonics. Its ancient crust is much more stable, much less processed.
So areas like Jezero Crater have just sat there, relatively undisturbed, for billions of years.
Largely, yes. They haven't experienced the same intense heating and alteration as equivalent aged rocks on Earth. That's why Tice called it a special and spectacular thing to be able to see them like this on another planet.
So Mars is like a geological time capsule, preserving a record of early planetary conditions that Earth has mostly lost.
That's exactly it. Mars offers this unique, almost pristine window into the period when life might have been emerging both there and here. Studying Mars gives us a chance to see what that early environment and potentially early life looked like in a way we simply can't on our own geologically dynamic planet.
It could teach us not just about Mars, but about the fundamental processes of life's origins anywhere.
Potentially, yes. It's an unparalleled opportunity. Hashtag tag outro.
Well, what an incredible journey. We've gone from perseverance navigating Martian dunes to the discovery of these fascinating poppy seeds and leopard spots in the Bright Angel Formation. We've talked chemistry, geology, redox reactions.
And that critical distinction between organic matter and actual signs of life.
Right. And the immense promise held within that tiny Sapphire Canyon sample waiting for its trip home. It really underscores the meticulous, careful nature of this science.
It does. These potential biosignatures aren't proof, but they are compelling enough to make us ask those huge questions.
Questions about our place in the universe, about how unique Earth really is. If we do eventually confirm life arose on Mars, even simple microbial life, billions of years ago, what does that tell us?
That's the profound question, isn't it? If life started independently on 2 planets right next door to each other, using similar chemistry around the same time, does that suggest life isn't a miracle, but maybe a common occurrence, a natural consequence of planetary evolution, given the right stuff?
It changes everything.
It could fundamentally shift our cosmic perspective. So think about those tiny features, the poppy seeds, the leopard spots. What if they really are the faint fossilized whispers of ancient Martian organisms preserved for eons? What secrets does Sapphire Canyon truly hold? Answering that, well, that will be one of science's greatest adventures.
A truly mind-bending thought to leave us with. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive today.
Always fascinating to explore.